Hello, I'm Anastasia, and I'm totally obsessed with food to a point where I cannot stop thinking and talking about it. If you're my best friend, I'm going to feed you to death. On weekends, when I lived in Paris, I used to go to Le Cordon Bleu school to learn the secrets of French cuisine. And I'm totally fascinated with the healing power of different food types and how they shape us and our health. But as I embarked on this sustainability journey, I discovered 3 completely unexpected things. Well, sustainable diet, first of all, is about sustaining ourselves, our body, and our health. Sustainable diet is definitely not about cutting off all the meat or all animal-based products. And finally, sustainable diet is neither unaffordable or boring. This is Live Sustainably with me, and today I'm sharing with you my story of how I changed my food diet forever, or 5 principles of a sustainable diet. Before we dive into the first principle of sustainable eating, I need to share a little disclaimer with you. I'm not a doctor. Everything that I'm talking about today is based on my personal experience and multiple books and scientific papers that I've been reading in the past several years. But if you are really considering changing your diet, I highly recommend that you consult your doctor before doing it. So, back to the first principle. In my very first video about sustainable living, and I'm putting the link here just in case you want to watch it, we were talking about what sustainable living actually means. And it means simply taking what we really need to sustain ourselves and leaving the rest for future generations or someone else who needs it more than us. So when it comes to food, it is as simple as we actually don't need to eat meat-based protein or animal-based protein 3 times per day, every day, to be able to sustain ourselves. On the other hand, for example, we don't need to eat bananas in summer because bananas, similarly to oranges, are full of vitamin C, and that's why they're so good in winter to boost our immune system. But in summer, we don't really need them, and in summer they actually come with much higher carbon footprint and many more chemicals. So when I started this sustainable eating transformation, the first question that I started asking myself is, what do I really need to take in a particular moment, and what can I actually leave behind or reject or don't necessarily need to eat and consume? Furthermore, what is absolutely critical for one person might be not critical at all for another person. That's because we all have different levels of vitamins and nutrients in our bodies. We have different blood types, we all come from different regions with different taste buttons and, very importantly, different dietary genes. Coming from Eastern Europe, I learned to respect seasonality, experiencing heavy snows in winter and super hot suns in summer. From where I come, eating meat, and especially fatty meat, is critical for keeping people's body warm inside out in winter. In summer, on the other hand, as the ice on the rivers and lakes would melt, we would eat a lot of fresh fish and have abundance of fresh berries and fruit and vegetables. And berries and fruit are so critically important in summer specifically because they're full of vitamin A, for example, and antioxidants that we need to protect ourselves from the sun. Today, all foods are mixed. We can eat anything we want, any time of the day, any day of the year, which is fabulously convenient. But on the other hand, we simply forget the seasonality and the importance of it, and what do we actually need to take in a particular season, or what we don't need at all in a particular season. Furthermore, we also forget that there is seasonality in a natural world. Seasonality of when plants or animal products are of their best quality. For example, milk. Milk historically has been the freshest in spring because animals on farms usually give birth to their babies in spring so that these babies can graze and eat the fresh spring grass and grow strong. So spring would be the best season and time to collect this milk and start making cheese out of it so that this cheese can mature throughout summer and autumn and be ready for winter when we need this boost of extra fat. And here comes the very best part. We all love to learn new things. We thrive on evolving and investing in new things and new projects that we want to achieve. But actually, the only really tangible project that we can ever invest in our lives is us, ourselves. Understanding our minds, how we can become a better version of ourselves every time, and understanding our bodies too, including how food relates to our bodies. Investing in good quality, organic, seasonal, local, healthy, rejecting toxic, processed, non-seasonal kinds of food, all of these became a good 60% of the success in this sustainable eating transformation. These things helped me reappreciate the simple foods, the simple types of foods. And most importantly, I also got rid of a chronic illness that I used to have. As I was diving deeper into my sustainable transformation, I also discovered a very interesting pattern. What is healthy and sustainable for me is usually healthy and sustainable for the planet. But what is totally not healthy or sustainable for the planet is usually not healthy or sustainable for me either. Take soda drinks, for example. Soda drinks are full of sugar. That is coming from sugar cane or sugar beets or corn. Growing all of these plants comes with a lot of implications. For example, loss of biodiversity, deforestation, massive carbon footprint, and immense use of chemical fertilizers. And let's not fool ourselves. There is no such thing as a sugar-free soda. If it tastes sweet, it means it has sugar. It's just that a plant from which the sugar is being derived is not classified as sugar yet. Soda drinks travel the world to get onto our tables, and they come in aluminum, plastic, or glass bottles, which require a lot of CO2 emissions and create a lot of waste too. Finally, we should not forget that sugar or sweetened drinks usually lead to certain health conditions like diabetes or weight gain or even non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But let's have a look at a completely different example. Chickens. Chickens are essential animals in the global food chain. And when they are happily and healthily living on a farm, running around and chasing grasshoppers and different bugs that thrive on vegetation on the farm, then they become natural insecticides. And farmers love chicken for helping them out. Chicken feces are also very healthy for local soil, as they attract different healthy bugs that crawl around the soil, aerating it, tilting it, and replenishing it. Chickens in small amounts are also very good for humans because they are a source of lean, low-fat protein vitamin B12, and tryptophan amino acids, which are historically linked to high levels of serotonin, or good mood, happy hormone in our brain. A sustainable diet is not about going on a diet. And in fact, we shouldn't be going on a diet in the first place, unless it is of course recommended by a doctor for a particular health condition. In the modern world, the word diet implies something temporary. It also implies taking out certain groups of foods out of our diet. For example, taking out all the carbohydrates or taking out all the meat-based products. But this is a little bit of a danger zone, as once we get those groups of foods out of our diet, it means we also eliminate access of certain groups of vitamins and minerals. That is why most of the diets are there only for a short period of time. We humans need a balanced diet and a diversity of foods to stay healthy. So a sustainable diet is actually about changing our mindset and gradually going back to the natural way of eating, which very slowly becomes part of our norm. So as I was progressing through this eating transformation journey, one of the things that I learned quite quickly is that I need to get rid of the word diet. And by the way, all the anxiety that comes together with this word. And instead, I started slowly but permanently changing my eating habits so that they become part of my norm. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm craving a chocolate cake. You know, like a real one, with butter and eggs and refined sugar and normal flour. And sometimes I feel a little bit down and all I really want is to pop a little bottle of champagne or indulge myself in a little bag of crisps. That's all because I'm so far from being perfect. And you know what? It's totally fine, because I know that I am 1,000 times better today at eating than I was several years ago. There is so much more meaning and thinking and understanding behind what I'm eating and how I'm eating it. There's so many unnecessary, toxic, processed foods that have been completely eliminated from my diet. And you're never going to convince me to bring them back into my diet. When I eat meat or fish, I appreciate it dearly because I know exactly why I'm eating it. When I go vegan for days or weeks, I love seeing how my body thrives on vegetables and instantly gives me a blast of energy. When I am traveling or when I'm sick, I take a little bit more. When I'm healthy and happy, I take a little bit less, or I leave a little bit more behind. Learning to tame my appetite and understanding my cravings or psychology behind these cravings is an ongoing journey. Sometimes I go backwards, but that is only in order to be able to improve with the next cycle and to become even better. So I think sustainable eating is really not a challenge. It's just a very important practice, a vital part of our well-being, which can only be cultivated if we find a bigger goal for it, a bigger reason why we should adopt sustainable eating. And it cannot be just about getting slimmer or saving the planet, which sounds very generic and unachievable. It's really about understanding what it takes to sustain ourselves, to keep our body healthy. Maybe because we want to give birth to healthier kids, maybe because we want to live longer, or just not get that often sick as we are now. The same way as we would very carefully select a book that would nourish our mind, we should always carefully select the foods that will only replenish our body, make it stronger, not weaken. And this is when a sustainable diet, or better to say, lifetime healthy eating habits, are going to become incredibly joyful, simply because we are going to appreciate them in a completely different way. This is when we're going to start welcoming all these diverse, nutritious gifts of nature with grace and appreciation, opening a completely new chapter to a better, healthier, more creative and more thriving, first of all, us, and also the world around us.